we're not charging. This is just information. There's nothing to buy at the end of this, but legal disclaimer, we're talking about the results that Caleb and I have. Our results are not typical because we're awesome. We're superstars, and you're not a superstar like we are yet. If you become a superstar like we are, then you might get these kinds of results, but we can't make any guarantees or income claims and all that FTC stuff, right? So, I mean, you guys get it, right? The work that you do determines the results that you get. So when we talk about results, we're not saying what's going to happen to you. What we are saying is what we've done and how we've done it and how we do it with our students and how students who excel, what they achieve, right? So not typical results. I guess that's good enough. I don't know. Anyways, we want you to become rock stars like Caleb and I. Caleb's a rock star. I'm a rock star. Caleb, how's that rock star life going for you right now?
Just living the bueno life, Mo.
Living that bueno life. I love it. I love it. All right. So let's talk about these 7 proven secret tips for getting unlimited, high-paying customers. Bueno, I don't remember which ones you were really passionate about, but just make sure that you smack me around a little bit to remind me on that.
Absolutely.
One of the things about getting high-paying customers is that you hear often people talk about quote-unquote high-ticket sales. But to know, I've been doing high-ticket sales since around 1990, and I've been doing high-ticket coaching since about 1994. So there's not many people who have been doing this and teaching this kind of stuff for as long as I have. And that's why we say high-paying customers, because it's not about the fact of you getting a whole lot of money. If you focus on high-ticket sales, then what you become is a overpriced seller. All you do is you take something and you add a bunch of money to it, and then that's it. And that's pretty invaluable, or not invaluable. It's pretty non-valuable. It doesn't bring real value to the marketplace. If you focus on your customers, if you focus on bringing them value, then the implication is that to have a high-paying customer, it means you have a high-value offer. I can't emphasize that enough. If you want high-paying customers, you must have a high-value offer. I'm not talking about opulence. I'm not talking about extravagance. I'm not talking about something that's expensive just for the sake of being expensive. I'm saying that the value that you bring to the marketplace is such that people are willing to pay high dollar amounts. I hope that makes sense, because it's from that perspective that you have to take the rest of the things that we're sharing with you. Just real briefly, so you know, if you're just joining us, my name is Maurice W. Evans. I'm America's favorite business coach. We're friends now, so you can call me Mo. And I am here with my co-host, Caleb Buen Consejo. Call him Bueno, because he lives in that Bueno life. He's a certified business solutions coach. And so we are going to be spilling the beans, man. We are going to really take a lot here, time here to just really share with everybody here. So glad to see so many people live with us, so many people here in the Zoom. It's not too late to get in the Zoom so that you can ask questions. But one of the main things about high-paying customers is that it's not voodoo, it's not magic, it's not anything radical. The fact is that if you provide high value, you will get high-paying customers. And if you're just starting in business, maybe you just started your agency, or you're just starting as a coach, or you just opened a store, or whatever it is that you're doing, maybe you're just starting and you may feel, well, I have to be around for so long. I have to have so much experience. I have to have such a name. I have to, quote unquote, pay my dues before I can get those high-paying customers. That is false, and that is a lie. You got to unbelieve those culturally conditioned lies. It is not necessary for you to have any level of experience or anything of that nature if what you're offering is of value. So keep that in mind. Be encouraged. Even if this is your first time, your customers don't care. If you can provide value, they will pay you. So without further ado, let's jump on in. Tip number one. don't argue when they object to price. Don't argue with people about price. Don't feel bad. Don't feel desperate. Don't feel like you have to haggle. Don't feel like you have to negotiate. In fact, Caleb, what happens if somebody comes to you and says, hey, Caleb, what's it going to cost for you to help me with this situation? And you say $15,000. And that person says, oh, $15,000, that's a lot of money. Is there any way that, I've only got $1,000. I still need the same thing. What happens if you start haggling and negotiating? What happens in that potential customer's mind at that point?
What happens in that person's mind is they actually start to devalue what you're offering them. So it's kind of interesting. So you start to argue with price, and it's actually counterproductive to what you're trying to do, right? What you want to do in that instance is actually share how valuable it is, why it's, why it's priced at what it's priced at, and why important it is, and that's one of the major differences. Because again, if you back off and you say, oh no, okay, how about I lower the price, and like what normally happens is people just leave. They're like, nah. That's okay, fam.
Isn't that crazy that a person is asking you for a discount, and if you give it to them, suddenly their perspective of what you offer changes? If I said, hey, I have a 2019 Mercedes-Benz E500 for sale, and you say, well, I'll give you $1,000 for it. And I say, okay, what's your first thought?
You must have got it cheaper, or
a 2019? How did I get a brand new Mercedes series for?
Must not be real.
I see a lot of ladies on the call. Ladies, if I said I have a brand new Gucci handbag, I'll give it to you for $20. See, Renee said it's no good. It's stolen.
Where'd you steal it from? Exactly.
See, Renee, give me a little credit. You could have at least said it was a knockoff or a imitation. She said, no, you must have stolen it. Paige Fulmer says something is wrong with it. Man, right there. There's got to be something wrong with it if it just doesn't make sense. I remember speaking with a young lady who came to me, who she was starting a coaching business. And I told her what my rate was for coaching to help her become a successful coach and learn from the things that I've learned, how to build a 7-figure business. And she wanted that. And she said, no, that's too expensive. I can't afford that right now. Anyway, we can do it cheaper. I'm like, no, I can't. I said, in fact, that's part of your problem is that you are trying to do things on the cheap. And she said, you know what? Now that you say that, you're right. And then she named this very famous person, a sports athlete. Even if you're not into sports, if I said this person's name, you would know them. She said, this person came to me for some life coaching. And she talked to this person. And she said, when I told him my price, he said, no, never mind. You must not be that good if that's all you charge. Think about that. You must not be that good if that's all you charge. That Mercedes for $1,000, it must not be that good for $1,000. That Gucci handbag for $20, it must not be that good. There has to be something wrong with it. When you undervalue your service because you need money, because that electric bill is due, so you think in your mind, oh, it's a cinch. I'm guaranteed to get the sale because I'm going to charge less for it. That's actually not true. You're not going to get the sale just because it's a lower price. People pay for high ticket items all the time, but it's based on the value that they bring. And so in the free ebook that we give, I tell a story briefly about the fact that when I was a teenager, 18, 19, I tried to sell Kirby vacuum cleaners. Now, since Natalie says what I'm ancient, which I don't know. So this was back when the vacuum cleaner was first created. You had to crank it up by hand. You had to, no, I'm not as old as Natalie tells you I am.
And that was just a few years ago, right?
Right. That was just a couple years ago. It was in the 90s, though. It was in the very, very early 90s. So early 90s, it might have actually been 80s. But listen, so I tried to sell Kirby vacuum. I don't know if you've heard of Kirby vacuums, but these are high power vacuum cleaners. Part of the demonstration is we carried around dirt with us, and we literally poured dirt on your carpet. And then we told you, okay, we had this suction pad that would show how much dirt was left. So we said, get your vacuum and vacuum that up. And then we do the suction pad and say, look how much dirt is still on there. Then we come across with the Kirby, with the superpower. And who's the guy that has the, is it Oric? That has the high power vacuums now? What's the guy's name?
Dyson.
So this is before Dyson was known or any of that kind of stuff, but it's the same kind of thing, super high power. We come across with the Kirby and show them, look, your vacuum is still real dirty. Your kids are crawling around on all this dirt. You think you're cleaning it. It's not. You need this Kirby, which cost $3,000 in the 90s. Yes, back then, Walmart was not the king, but you could go to Sears and get an $80 vacuum cleaner. Kirby still to this day sells $3,000 vacuum cleaners. And guess what? People buy them.
That thing better set the chrome off of a trailer hitch.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Brent. I was scared where you were going with that. So people are used to paying $10 and $20 for a book. Right? Because supposedly the book is going to get you to your goal. So when you say I'm a coach and I charge $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, like me, $5,000 an hour, some people are going to balk and say, whoa, that's a lot of money. I could go get a book for $20. But that's not the point, because it's foreign to them, because they're not aware of it. Because you may have never spent more than $10,000 on a vehicle doesn't mean that there aren't people spending $100,000 on vehicles. Just because you've never spent more than $200,000 on a home doesn't mean there aren't people spending $2 million or $20 million on a home, right? There are high-paying customers out there. The worst thing you can do is argue with someone on price for no other reason other than people think there is something wrong with what you are doing. It can't be that good. So this young lady who's trying to start her business could have had a celebrity sports athlete as her first client, and they told her, nah, what you were saying all sounded good, but clearly it can't possibly be that good. If nobody's willing to pay you a high price, then people will assume there is no value. Remember the first thing I said? The very first thing I said, you have to remember, if you want a high-paying customer, then you have to have a high-value offer. Those things have to go together. That is the only way to do that. For those of you who are on here, is there anybody that has maybe a quick question in regards to tip number 1? All right, moving on.
There is a question.
Oh, who has a question? Who's got a question?
Lisa, she asked, what is considered a high value?
A a high value is whatever is something that is a high value to the customer. So high value things are things, first of all, anytime something causes someone to save costs or to increase revenue. So generally, almost anything you sell to a business can be high value because it's used for them to save money in their business or make more money. For the average consumer, a high value item has to do with the value that it retains, and it has to do with the perceived value. So something can have a higher perceived value than necessarily the value it retains. I don't know what the resale value, maybe it's something to look into, is of Gucci handbags. I don't know if you buy one for $800, can you then go back to the Gucci store and say, you know, here, you buy it from me for $500 and then they go sell it for $700, you know, 100 off the 800 because it's used. You can do that with a high value vehicle. You can do that with Lamborghini. You can do that with a Mercedes. As you start going down on the value of the car, like BMW, Toyota, Hyundai, their value doesn't last as long, right? And so how much value does the item itself retain or appreciate? Things like real estate appreciates. Things like precious metals tend to appreciate over time. How much money does it save a person? If it's saving a person, then it's of high value. How much does it make a person? If it increases their income, then it's high value. So there's a lot of variables and factors in that, but the value is determined. An item is truly worth. People say, hey, how much is this worth? I used to sell domain names, right? Which is the whatever.com. I used to buy and sell those, trade them, develop all that kind of stuff. And people would often say, well, Mo, how do you know how much a domain is worth? A domain is worth whatever a person is willing to pay for it, and not a penny more. If nobody's willing to spend $5,000 on this domain, but they'll spend $50, then the domain is worth $50. If people will spend $50,000 on the domain, it's worth $50,000. The value is determined by what people will pay for it. So, and that, you know, lots of market variables with that. David King, how do you provide so much value that justifies a high price? Could you provide an example from one of your students or in your own high ticket ventures? Caleb, you want to take this or you want me to take it?
I can touch on it, then you can finish it.
Okay. Caleb is one of my students, by the way. Caleb started with me about 2 years ago, and then he has grown to the position where, you know, besides us being really good friends, he's actually a business partner of mine now. So he can definitely tell you the difference in what we're talking about right now because he's actually lived it.
One of the biggest things, David, and thank you for your question. That's a great question. You want to be able to paint the picture in your prospect's mind of something that is of high value, something that they do need, and to be able to convey it. So you'll have, you know, we're taking the premise first that you already have something that's very valuable, if you will, right? Now you're just trying to justify it, correct? So the way that you justify it is you create, you know, different things around it. When you look at a lot of high ticket packages, they're things that have a lot of different things for your audience. So be it coaching, either in the group setting or one-on-one, private mastermind groups, or there could be just different things that you can utilize to justify, but also utilizing, so obviously something that helps testimonials as well, or helps justify is just to share testimonials of times that you've assisted someone else. So in my situation, I've been able to help other people to make, you know, thousands in their first months online. and, you know, just to be able to share those things with them. And it's just clearly just paint the picture for them, spell it out, let them know how valuable your product or service is, and then offer, and then, yeah, just be able to convey that, if that makes sense to them. Does that make sense? Mo, any tips?
Yeah. Before I jump in, I wanted to acknowledge Natalie is one of my students. She's not been as long, but she also has grown to the point where she is partnering in ventures that we do. And so I don't know, Natalie, if there was something that you maybe wanted to share in regards to things that you're learning in regards to high-paying customers and the value of what we offer. How do you justify the price that one would charge? Did you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I can really relate to what Caleb was just saying, is really center it to what they get, how it's going to help them. We like to, what we learn in America's Favorite Motivator students is the Bob, benefit of the benefit. If you can say like, oh, this, but speak in terms of what those components of your package or whatever, how your service is broken down, what is the person, what is your client or customer going to get at the end of the day? All right. And, one thing, Mo, that you've taught me is, to help yourself, make sense of that. When you're speaking to a customer, you'll say, hey, this is what you get. This is important because, when you can say this is important because, that's going to get to the deeper meaning of what value they're getting. All right. Because I mean, Mo, you use the classic example, like we don't just buy shampoo. We get, we women, we buy, something that's going to make our hair fuller, more volume. We're going to feel, there's a lot of, hey, no pun intended, because I was joking around with age earlier, but you can't argue that in marketing, youthfulness is a huge desire, right? So when we're buying something, it's not just a shampoo and this and that, and that's all feature stuff. You want to speak into the benefits, your Bob. Okay, this is important because your hair is going to feel more fuller and everything. And I know that's a very simplistic example because we're talking about high ticket, but you can use that at very high price packages and offers. So, and being confident too. When you're confident in what that you're providing, then the person's going to be a confident buyer. If you're not confident, and I've been in situations where I wasn't feeling confident, then other people weren't confident in buying from me. So when your confidence changes, then you're going to see huge change.
I see Angelica's on the line. Angelica has been in some of my trainings and has had some mentoring from me, and she is just starting out her first business venture. She quit her job, and she is doing Hawaiian themed birthday parties. So awesome on that. Angelica, I don't know if you wanted to maybe touch on this, maybe something that you have learned in regards to how to justify the value of price. So this is something that you're actually dealing with right now. So I don't know if you wanted to jump in on that. You're driving.
I am driving.
Girl, pull over. We don't want to see you have an accident.
That's why I was not on the screen. I was like, oh.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were driving. I wouldn't have asked you.
No.
Please do not drive while you give this answer.
I will make a very quick answer. How about that?
Okay, well, put the phone down so you're not tempted to look at it. We don't need to see your face. We don't want you. Look at the road. There you go. Look at the road. All right.
There it is. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Heart attack.
Oh my gosh. You almost made me forget the question. Okay. Yeah. So right now, I'm literally in the midst of going through the mindset of how much can I charge these customers? So a little backstory. Mo, actually, you and Caleb, thank you so much for this. You helped me brainstorm and bring to life my first business. It's called Happy Hawaiian Parties. And in a nutshell, I perform Hawaiian style luau experience for kids and teach them ukulele and hula. And in determining that price, at the very beginning I was like, oh, I don't know, like $100 sounds like a lot, you know. So I kind of just, you know, threw out like whatever the biggest number in my head was. And Mo, actually, I just talked to Mindy, and she's like, oh girl, like it's like a whole mindset thing. As you said, it's all about the value that you bring to your client, not the way that you see yourself. And that's a whole topic too. But in determining price and things like that, it's really about, you know, how much is that person willing to pay. And parents are willing to pay big bucks for these birthday parties. I had no clue, and until I looked into, like, you know, what it costs for just for Captain America in a to show up to your kid's birthday party is easy $300 for an hour, up to, and that's just the costume and stuff, you know. Mine is a full experience, so there's no way in heck I'm gonna charge $100. And I love what you guys said about, like, the was it the sports person who was like, oh, like, if that's all you would charge, you must not be that good. Like, that really hit me. Like, oh my gosh, no, my service is really good, and I should be compensated. It's a value exchange. I should be compensated for it.
Awesome. Thank you, Caleb, Natalie, and Angelica. I like Angelica just threw out one of our catchphrases here, a value exchange. And so you're not if you look at it as a high price that needs to be justified, David, it will be difficult. But when you understand it is a value exchange, they're paying you a high price because what you're offering is of high value. You don't have to convince people of a value exchange. If they see it as a high value, then there's not going to be a problem with them presenting you a high dollar amount. And so let me just kind of break this down again. Caleb, so as a result of the coaching that you've gotten from me, if the United States said, you know what, Caleb, give us absolutely everything that you have. They took your house, your clothes, they took your bank account, they took your car, they took everything that you had, and they kicked you out of the country, and they dropped you out of an airplane into some foreign country. This country has internet access and libraries with free computers. Based off of what you have been taught, based off of the coaching that I've given you, what do you think is the minimum amount of money you could make per month?
Minimum amount per month. So, I mean, you're talking about still having internet access. How fast is the internet? That's the only thing.
It's high speed. They got high speed.
Because if it's high speed, honestly, there's almost no difference. And I can easily make at least $50,000 a month creating systems. Like, I've already created courses, my own courses. I've done my own coaching.
So you're confident that you have the ability, right, to make $50,000 per month. If you had to, and you had no other choice, and you just focused and you just did what you needed to do, you can make $50,000 a month. You're confident in that,
right? Absolutely.
And so, what gives you that ability? What gave you that ability?
A lot of it is track record. You know, at first it started with mindset, which was super key because, I mean, let's just be super honest. When I first started as a beginner coach, I was like, Mo, I think maybe I can charge like $250 a month to these people.
For like unlimited, yeah, and that was like unlimited coaching.
Unlimited coaching.
They could just like all day, every day coaching, $250 a month. Like, wait, what?
Right, completely
one-on-one too. It was awesome.
And in my mind, just share a little bit from the scarcity mentality and then how my mentality changed. In my mind, it was just like, you know, if I get enough of those 250 people, you know, I can have a good little chunk of money and whatever. In my mind, I was like, oh yeah, that would be amazing. But like, what you don't want to create for yourself is a job that you own.
Wow.
Where you're overperforming and you're
Wow.
actually getting paid less than minimum wage.
Wow. That's huge.
Steeply undervaluing yourself.
Huge.
So that was one of the major things that shifted for me. I was just like, wait, I could work at McDonald's and make more than all of this. Like, so we're saying I'm already providing tons of value, okay? Like tons of value. I have to create this value. It's not just like poof, like now we got this, like I had to create this course. I had to create, you know, my coaching program, my system, all of these things put into place. And at this rate, I'm just getting maybe, you know, less than minimum wage. Like it's not even worth it. So
right.
You have to really just match first start with, you know, matching the value of what you're offering. And really understand that, because when you really break down what it really takes to build your own, whatever it would be, systems or what have you, it's not just like poof, like you can't just sign up for a program and then, you know, now you can just get all of the money and everything through all of the, you know what I'm talking about?
Right,
like you actually have to build things and then you have to actually fulfill it, you know? So
David, you were asking, how do you provide so much value to justify a high price? And so you've heard, because you asked about from students or my own venture. So you've heard 3 students here share with you. And what I want you to grasp here is, now Caleb has said that he now has the ability to make $50,000 per month. Caleb, would you attribute that to my coaching?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So he attributes that to my coaching. So then what is the value of my coaching at that point? If he now has the ability for the rest of his life to make $50,000 per month, that's in 1 year, right? 50,000 times 10 is 500,000 plus another 2 months, another 100. So that's $600,000 per year. Based off of the coaching. That's an ability that he has gained. That, and as long as he has high-speed internet, he's confident that he can build to this place, right? Which gives him a very large freedom to travel and not need a lot of resources to get started. What is that worth? Is that worth $5,000? Is that worth $10,000? Is it worth $50,000? Is it worth 1 month's worth? Is it worth more than? What is the value of it? See, a lot of people look at a seed and think, oh, a packet of seeds is $2. But the value of the seed is actually infinite, because that seed can create a tree that has a lot of fruit, and each of those fruits have a lot of seeds, and each of those seeds have a lot of trees, and each of those trees have a lot of fruits, and each of those fruits have a lot of seeds. And so the value of one little seed is infinite and exponential to what it is currently. And so that value exchange, what is it worth to learn how to make $50,000 per month and have that confidence? What is that worth? So you don't have to, and so now let me take away from all of that and say, in the end, that's the whole point, not to argue when a person objects to price. It is not your job to convince somebody that you're worth hiring. It's not your job to convince somebody that what you have is valuable. Your job is to show what you have to offer, and then they get to make a choice on whether or not they want to take advantage of that offer. Guess what? A lot of people are foolish. A lot of people are small-minded. A lot of people are short-sighted. A lot of people are single-dimensional. And guess what? They are not going to take advantage of an actual valuable offer. Then there are people who look at something of value and say, wow, I would be foolish to not take advantage of this. I don't want to be unwise. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So don't worry about justifying. Provide value and do a value exchange with people who recognize that value. Otherwise, you get caught up in trying to prove yourself, and that's always a losing game. So, man, this is just tip number 1, guys. I don't know. We're gonna have to speed this up here. You guys are asking too deep questions now. No, don't worry about it. It's good that you.
Good question, David. I appreciate it.
This is for you guys to grow, but let's move along here. Tip number 2.
Tip number 2 is me.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, let's hit it.
All right.
Uh-oh. What's going on in our thing? Okay. So tip number 2.
Tip number 2 is to give some free training to show your value. And so this does touch a little bit into what you were talking about, David, and about justifying your price and whatnot, because the reality is not everyone's gonna buy from you right there, because they don't necessarily, know who you are, what you have to offer, or what have you. And like they say, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust, right? And so just being able to offer something to someone that, may not buy right away, or even, someone that's looking at what you're offering, but, we don't have all the time in the world to be like, oh, it's this and this and this and this and this. We actually want to give them a little taste of what your value is like, similar like the Costco effect, just to give them really what the value is. And so this could be in the form of a lot of different things. It could be in the form of like a webinar. It could be like free coaching. Some people do like the 15 or 30 minutes, but you want to be really careful that you're not just giving up all of your time with someone that's not serious in what you're offering. So the way I like to do it is to be able to offer, a piece of your course. They offer a free or a free ebook, offer something of value or whatnot that they can actually utilize today, so that now they can see, they can grow to get to actually know who you are. They'll get to like and see you through the whole process of the value that you're bringing to them. And then in all of that, they begin to trust you more as an authority figure in the things that you're sharing and providing. Because now, wow, I can actually use this stuff that I got for free. I wonder what they're offering, what their paid services are like, and that helps to build that value for them. And of course, you don't want to just be giving away your whole, everything for free, because then nobody's going to come back to be like, oh, what else you got? You just want to give them a little taste of what you got, if that makes sense.
Just a little taste. Free trials, are ways to do a sample or a portion of a session or something like this. I mean, this whole video that everybody's watching, this is an example of, hey, Maurice is America's favorite business coach. Hey, Caleb is a certified business solutions coach. Are they really the best like they claim? Are they? Well, here's an example. Do we know what we're talking about? Watch this and see. It'll be real evident whether or not we actually know what we're talking about, or if we're just full of bunk. Are we full of fluff, right? Or not? And so by showing, hey, wow, you know what? These guys really know their stuff. Okay, I would like to get coaching from them, or I'd like to join their certification program, or I'd like to join their Facebook group, whatever it may be. This is the perfect example of us giving some free training to show value. So David got to answer a question that he can contextualize. You guys on this call, you guys get to contextualize this. Everybody who watches this video here on the iPaying customer site, you guys, will be able to join the group and say, hey, this is a question that I have, and we'll help you with that. So the challenge is the keyword there is not free. It's not the key word. What's the key word in that sentence there? Some. That's right. Some. We're not trying to give out stuff for free. If you do not believe in paying for service, if you cannot afford our service, we're just not for you. There's plenty of places out there. Because here's the thing, when you spend time trying to help somebody you can't help because they're unwilling to learn, because they're unwilling to pay, you are stealing time from somebody that you can help. There are people who are willing to do a value exchange, and they appreciate what you do for a living. If this were a restaurant, nobody would expect us to give free food out to everybody who comes along because they want to see if the food tastes any good or not. If we were a retail store, nobody would come along and say, well, you got to let me take home these clothes and try them on for a week to see if your clothes are. Nobody would expect that. So don't expect that because we're offering a service. Don't expect it because we're offering coaching or consulting or we're an agency. Don't expect that because we're an online business, or don't expect that. And don't let people force that expectation upon you. Okay, so maybe you give the first session or half a session, or you do something like this that gives value for general topics so that people know if they want to go further along, you want more of this, great. Come become a customer. But outside of that, make sure it's some. But the value that you give actual value. Don't give them beans and weenies if you're a steakhouse, right? Say, here, try these pork and beans. You like that? Yeah, if you should come in and get one of our steaks. No, give them a real piece of steak. Don't give them a whole steak. Take one steak, slice it up, put some toothpicks in it, and say, here, taste that. Man, this is some succulent prime rib.
You're making me hungry, Mo.
This filet mignon. It must be time to eat because I always my analogies always start turning to food at one point, right? That's funny. So my brain is like, hey, food. And so all of a sudden, all of my examples, and just like cereal and just like steak and just like Mo, what happened to all the business examples? Hilarious. Okay, so as Caleb said, give some free training to show some value. Any questions or comments on that? That's a kind of straightforward one. Any questions or comments on that? Anybody in here? And let us know in chat or in live here.
How do you feel about upselling at the end of that free value? Or is it going to be like today where you just give the free value?
So yes, always upsell at the end. So we don't have a pitch and offer anything for you to buy, except for the fact that Caleb would want you to use his Airbnb. Other than that, we don't have anything to offer, but we do have an upsell, and our upsell is right there on the bottom of the screen. We have several Facebook groups. We would love for you to join us in our Facebook group, right? That's the exchange here. We want you, in exchange for what we've done for you, we want you to join us in our groups. So yeah, always upsell. With your trial, with your offer, C. Renee says BOGO, which is buy one, get one, coupon samples. Coupons are not the same as a trial. That's a discount, but discounts do that. Instead of a discount coupon, you can give them a free coupon. You can get a free whatever. Maybe it's an add-on. Maybe it's the prequel or precursor to whatever it is that you do. So maybe, I don't know, the manicure is free, but, the polish is what you upsell them to. Hey, you know what? We've cut your nails, we've buffed them. Now, if you want us to put a coat of paint on them, then that's going to cost you more, right? Coupon like an upsell or free on the next use type thing. Yes, absolutely. But the key here is that you're using this to get the high paying customer for the first time. So how do you get somebody? My retainer is $10,000. Our certification programs start at $5,000. But when people experience our students and their results and they see what we do, they say, wow, I want that too. Or they experience something like this saying, wow, you know what? This is moving me in the right direction. I want to continue in the right direction. Then they do that, right? So this is how do you get that high paying customer? Sometimes consider it the test drive for the vehicle, right? You go to Mercedes lot, they say, okay, yeah, take it home, come back tomorrow and let me know what you think, right? Drive it around for a day, come back the next day, buy the car. So we see this all the time. We go into the grocery store and they have the toothpicks. They want you to go buy whatever it is. They made the product. They've prepared it. And you like it and it's good. It's delicious. And so you go buy more. So before I move further on the food, hopefully that answers those questions. Good input there, C. Renee. Thank you on that. Tip number three. Target a narrow niche audience. It is a bad idea to be a general practitioner. One of the worst things when I say, well, who's your target? Who wants what you need? Everybody. Everybody needs what I have is so great. It's amazing. Anybody who breathes, they need it. Everybody. Anybody who eats food. Anybody who drives a car. Anybody who has everybody. Everybody needs it. That's just not true. And you find yourself competing against everything, particularly against people who are having a narrow niche. Then, they are focusing on this one tribe and you're trying to hit everybody and it's not going to work. The reality is, you don't want to be lost in this giant sea. There's going to be people who are bigger than you. There's going to be people who are more established than you. So what? That's just life. It doesn't mean that you can't compete. And one of the best ways to compete is to focus, right? Now, don't get too narrow. Okay, you don't want to be, like we say in the ebook, you don't want to be a career coach for women with children between the ages of 35 and 40. Well, that's kind of narrow. Right? This is very, very specific there. But you do want to create some sort of niche or sub niche, right? So here's some examples from the book you're going to get. A weight loss coach. That's pretty general, but if you're a weight loss coach for people that weigh over 250 pounds, now you've narrowed it to a niche audience, right? A stop smoking coach. That's a niche audience, but you can narrow that even further to those, a stop smoking coach for people who smoke 2 or more packs a day, right? Maybe you're a speaker. You don't want to just be a speaker. You could be a speaker for Christian women. That's a little narrower, but if you really want to get that narrow niche audience, then you're a joy speaker for Christian women, right? Again, in a speaker, you could be a weight loss speaker, but just for men who love fried food. A career consultant for professionals in corporate America. A lead generation agency for dentists. A startup consultant for entrepreneurs. A sales funnel consultant for financial planning firms, right? When you get into this niche audience, then several things happen. You stand out from the crowd when you're getting those high-paying customers, even when they haven't heard of you. But you also begin to build momentum because you have a unique understanding for people in that niche. You specialize and cater to their unique needs, which makes you an expert in that particular field. So any questions or comments on that? Again, that's kind of self-explanatory there, but we'll take questions or comments on that. All right, let's go to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to have a problem to solution system. A problem to solution system. This is one of those practical things for you guys here that you ultimately have to have a system, a process that will identify and analyze a person's problem and come up with a roadmap to the solution that they're trying to get to. You got to be able to track what's happening. You got to be able to move them down the pathway. So when it comes to providing value, you're helping people attain their dreams, their goals, their desires. It is not your job to reach their goals for them. You can't do that. But what you can do is you can give them the tools to reach their goals. Okay, so Natalie mentioned shampoo for women. They are not coming to wash your hair. And they are not going to hook you up with the love of your life. That's your job. They're giving you a tool that helps you wash your hair so that you can have fuller body and easier to manage hair, more attractiveness to the opposite sex, and you can find your significant other, right? That's what they give you the tool for. They're not going to do it for you, right? So you provide people with tools, you provide them with support, you provide them with information so that they now have the ability to solve their problem. So you have to be able to do two things. One, you have to be able to know what their problem is. What is their problem? And in addition to knowing what their problem is, you have to know what they need to do to resolve the problem. That's a problem to solution system. One, what is their problem? And two, what do they need to do to resolve the problem, right? So if you're taking notes, that problem solution system, real simple. Number one, what is their problem? Number two, what do they need to do to resolve their problem? So in the ebook, we talk about weight loss as a common challenge, right? So you talk to them every day. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them if they tried to eat less or if they did some exercise. That's not going to help them. That's not a system. That's not a problem. That doesn't do anything, right? But if you take a different approach and you determine a specific way, process, system to solve each problem that is standing in their way. So what's the problem? You realize that this person, well, I can't stick to a proper diet, they tell you. So you identify the problem is their diet is too restrictive and doesn't allow them any pleasure from eating. Therefore, they can't stick to their diet, right? That's part one. You found out what the problem is. So then you solve the problem by creating a new diet that allows them to eat healthy and still have some of their favorite foods. And the food that they eat healthy, that you find ways to make it tasty for them. Problem to solution system, right? Maybe a person wants success selling books on Amazon. Okay, you identify the problem. They have an amateur looking cover. Their manuscript is full of misspellings and typos, and they have very poor formatting. So what's the solution? You point them in the direction of Photoshop tutorials or freelance cover artists. You have them understand how to edit better or show them how to find an editor. Same thing with formatting, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Problem to solution. That's what's going to make a difference. By a lot of people are kind of willy-nilly in what they're offering and their product, their quality control. You know, sometimes the screws are in, sometimes the screws are loose. Sometimes the bulb is brand new. Sometimes the bulb is blown when it comes to them. I just bought a bulb for a TV and it sucks, right? I got to send it back again for the third time. So, they don't have a problem solution system. And that's a problem. What you want is to not be willy-nilly especially those who are coaches or agencies. People have a specific thing that they're trying to do. There is an exception when you're dealing with an agency, right? With an agency, there is a third option, which is an agency will actually say, we do the solution for you. Right. So in that one with the Amazon book, the third solution would be, hey, we'll design the cover. We'll edit your manuscript for you. Right. A done for you situation. So that is a third option. But unless you're an agency, you're dealing with those two areas to identify a specific problem, come up with a specific solution for that problem, and have a system, a process to accomplish that for your customers. This is important because you want your customers to keep doing business with you, and you want them to send referrals, which will require consistency. And as we say, a venture or an opportunity is not worth it if it's not sustainable and scalable. And you need this to be both sustainable and scalable. So this happens as a result of you being known as a problem solver, because you have a problem solution system that is catered directly to your high-paying customers. Any questions on that? Questions on the problem solution system? All right. Let's move to the next tip here, number 5.
Number 5 is me.
Uh-oh.
Number 5, you want to offer a variety of styles or packages. So, you know, depending on what you're offering, whether you're a coach, consultant, or whatnot, you want to be able to offer those different options to them, because there's no one size fits all solution. You don't want what you don't want to create is something called a single point of failure, where if someone doesn't buy your one program or what have you, then they don't buy anything. You know, then they just drop off and you never see them again. You know, you never want to create that situation for yourself. So you want to offer more than one thing for different people. So some people, they really like things that some people really like the face-to-face option. Other people will never they just never want to see your face. They're happy to talk to you and, you know, be a cyber warrior and stuff like that. But they'll just never want to talk to you. But they'll gladly take your course, and they'll gladly utilize it for whatever they're building, either their course, their coaching, or, you know, for a creative agency or consulting or what have you. They'll gladly do that. You know, so you want to provide different options, just to provide, you know, some people just like more of the direct interaction as well. So for certain people, they like the warm fuzzies of just talking on the phone with someone, you know, being able to get that kind of chemistry or just that business connection with someone where you can just really share that, hey, you know, I'm a regular person and whatnot, and people just love that, you know, direct connection, or different people, I should say, like that. So you want to be able to offer different things. So sometimes it could be that, you know, if your audience speaks to people on the phone, or if your audience is more a lot of millennials like me, for some reason we just like to be behind the computer and just I don't know, doing what we do and traveling the world, and, you know, everything that we do from our one phone, you know, living the laptop lifestyle and stuff like that. And that's what we like. And so you want to be able to offer that directly to your audience, to give them that option. And you also, so besides people, besides speaking their specific language and offering to them in those areas, you generally want to paint a picture of, and literally do this, create kind of like a roadmap, or how you're going to filter people. Okay, so if I run into this type of person, then I'm going to offer them this type of thing. You know, anytime you're offering something, you want to be very specific, like you're speaking to your specific person one-on-one. You know, that it's not like a big, you know, you want it to be very organic, that it's very direct. So it doesn't have to be you specifically saying it. It could even just be just in the way that you're advertising, you're just speaking directly to that person, if that makes sense. So, but you want to create it to where, you know, like how I said earlier, some people won't be ready to buy from you right away. So someone that just doesn't know you yet, you can put them kind of in that category, doesn't know me yet. And you can offer some type of free value or what have you, so that they can get a little taste of what you're all about. And then you want to kind of stagger your offers that way. Okay, so the people that are ready to go right now, today, you know, have those things set up. I've seen so many people that it's funny, they kind of just do a thing and they're just like, all right, everybody, I got this. Everybody, let's just get together and let's just go do stuff. And then they don't have an offering. So all those other people kind of just go and do their own thing. And since you didn't have whatever offer specifically for them ready to take care of them and walk with them, they kind of just ran away with all these other people. So you want to have those offers ready in those specific areas. Something that people don't always think about. I really like this example, and I learned this one from Mo, is a lot of gurus or a lot of the professionals, the authorities, they create lead magnets or things that are like best-selling books or what have you. One of the things is, as people get, as you start to build your value, as you become more of an authority figure in the marketplace, you're recognized, and you get bigger features, you cost more, your time is more valuable, to where like $5,000 an hour in order to hire Mo. Not the average person can't just be able to just, oh, here you go, Mo, like here's 2 hours, 10 grand, no big deal, like. So not everybody can just do that, and so you want to be able to create different offerings. And that's why a lot of authority figures, they create books where people can just pick up that $10, $20 book or what have you, start to get that value from you, start to learn and see you as an authority figure, and then things can go from there. You start to develop and change their mentality, their mindset and whatnot. And it's the funniest thing. So now this person that read like a 20, or however much your books cost, it, super cheap and stuff like that. Someone that just read your book, all of a sudden, maybe in the future, maybe they'll get your course, maybe they'll get your program, whatever, or maybe they'll see you live and they're like, oh my gosh, I love everything that you're doing. I love when you say this part and that part and blah, 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 and I just love it. And then you're just talking to this person like, I've never met you, but like,
Right.
like, I love that you connected with that, and that's really what happens. So you want to create that situation where you're not just offering to just certain people, or you want to create that, they say, like, to keep people around the campfire, create that type of environment where people can get to know you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that, one-on-one interaction. People love, they love what they like. If someone wants to read a book, by all means, get a book out there, be able to provide to your community, and without having all of your time being drained from you, if you will. So, any thoughts on that, Mo?
No, I think you hit that one right on the button, brother. Absolutely. It's, just having a variety available to people in different capacities, whether that's books and courses and videos and video conference and telephone and text and messenger and email and carrier pigeon and face-to-face and conferences and
Carrier pigeon.
whatever. Well, back in my day, Natalie.
Hilarious.
So before it gets to be my bedtime, let me, anybody have any questions on this offering a variety of styles and packages? Anybody questions on that?
There is a question.
Okay.
I'll read it out. The question is, what's the best membership sites?
As with everything, there is no best. There is no magic bullet. It's what is best for you and your particular circumstance and situation. So it depends on what functionality you need, what the scale of it needs to be, how fast it needs to grow, how you need to service, what you need to offer, what's inside the membership site, how does the paywall work? So there's a lot of different options. And of course, your resources matter. Right? What do you have? Do you need something third-party hosted? You're going to host on your own server? You're going to, how much money do you have? There's all kinds of options and variables. So the thing that I encourage you, Anna, is that to remember that there is no best of anything that you're looking for. It's what will be best for you. For the most part, there very rarely are, we look at the world and we see there's only one Google for search. There's only one Amazon for online ordering. There's only one Apple for music. There's only one Netflix for movies. And so we get caught in this thinking that there is the biggest and the best. But for the most part, as an entrepreneur, most of the things that you have, there's not going to be the best. If you're tech challenged, then there is not going to be an easiest to set up. If you're tech challenged, you don't want to be messing with it at all. If you're tech challenged, you want to hire somebody who is not tech challenged so that you can get what you need. You definitely don't want to just go for what's the easiest for you to do, especially in your weak area, because now you're going to devalue what you're able to offer your customers. What's easiest for you to set up, being tech challenged, may be the very thing that stops you from being able to put out something of value. Get somebody who is good at membership sites, pay them whatever it takes to get what you need. And what you need is not what you want. What you need is what your customers want. So the question you have to answer is, what does your high-paying customer require in a membership site? And what is the lowest viable product that you can put out there to get that going? And then, of course, as you get customers, you can grow it and evolve it. Great question.
And we had another question as well. David asked, by offering a variety of styles, do you offer greater do you offer greater incentives for immediate action takers, like discounts or coupons? And does giving monthly installment payments for people? Actually, do you want to whack that one first?
Okay, so
two-part question.
What's the first part again?
Yeah,
offering a variety of styles of packages. Do we give greater incentive for immediate action takers? Majority of the time, yes.
Yes.
Majority of the time, vast majority of the time. But that's mostly because of our approach as well. We generally do a pre-launch, a beta. We do something. So I'm a growth hacker. And so growth hacking is all about allowing the crowd to tell you what they want, which means that it doesn't make a lot of sense to invest a lot up front in what you think people want, because whatever you think they want is not going to be what they actually want in reality. So you put out a little bit, let them give you feedback, and then you morph that into what it is that they want. Therefore, the early adopters absolutely get a discount. Early adopters absolutely get bonuses. Right here, if you sign up below for our high-paying customers notification, you'll see that there's certain things that we put out there that before we notify everybody else, we notify that list, and those action takers, they get the first option to see it. They get to be test subjects. They get stuff for free. They get stuff for discounts. So absolutely, always take care of action takers. Always take care of early adopters, because they're the ones who enable the masses to receive what they receive in reality. Good question. What was the second part of that?
Second question is, and does giving monthly installment payments for people who want to pay incrementally, does it increase value or devalue your worth?
That's kind of circumstantial. Sometimes, in general, we do full payment in advance when you're talking about a high paying situation. Now, people have the ability to get financing. So you might not spend, you might not be in a position to put 40,000 cash for that Mercedes. So the Mercedes dealership still wants all their money in advance. So they send you to a third-party financier, or you may have already gone to your bank who says, hey, we'll pay the 40,000 for this vehicle. So Mercedes gets their 40,000, but now you have to pay the bank monthly installments for what you've paid. So somebody may pay you by credit card. So they're paying monthly installments. Generally, you don't want to take those installments, but you can. And it doesn't hurt to do installments. You just have to make sure that there is a proper value exchange. Oftentimes when it's a long-term course, installments are good because they, there's no way for them to get all the value and not continue with their installments. It just really depends on how early you are. The more you do something, the longer you do something, the more track record it has, the more of a no-brainer it is, the less installments you have to do. But installments never hurt. Installments will help you get more customers, but paying you incrementally, it should be clear what they're paying, how often they're going to pay, and there should be loss if they don't fully pay. So good question. Good question on that. All right, wrapping up here, rounding the bend. Tip number 6. Increase your platform. Man, Natalie, you want to talk a little bit about increasing platform? Do you feeling froggy, or are you just visiting with us? She wasn't scheduled to teach on here today, but is Natalie still here? Did she disappear? Natalie, you there? She may be away. Okay, so increase your platform. Man, platform, that's one of my wheelhouses there due to my mom was a Motown era singer. She sung with the Crystals, the Tiffany's, the Marvelettes. Probably the most popular hit song was Mr. Postman. But she was also a record label exec. And so I learned firsthand some music business secrets on building platform, on building fan base. And that's really a large part of what I do in the marketplace with coaches and speakers, is help them build their platform, right? And one of the things that you have to understand is when you want those high-paying customers, you want to have a high platform. So here's a question. Heard of Dr. Phil? He's a pop psychologist that was made popular by Oprah. You think that Dr. Phil has a problem getting customers? You think he's got to get people who can only pay incrementally or have to give coupons or discounts? You think that Dr. Phil is worrying about how to justify his value? You think he has a shortage of people willing to pay high dollar for him? But now ask this question. Do you think Dr. Phil is the best psychologist? Is Dr. Phil the best psychologist? Or is he just the best known psychologist? See, it's better to be the best known for doing a thing than to be the best at doing a thing. There are many people who are better at psychology than Dr. Phil, but very few are better known than him. Same thing with Dr. Oz. He's a TV doctor. There's all kinds of physicians out there that are better, but so what? It's that platform. And so if you want high-paying customers, platform will help you. Platform literally forces success to chase after you. Become a best-selling author. Get featured in the major news media. Have a TV show. These are the kinds of things that draw people to you and make them not question out. See, and this is that value exchange. This is where it gets interesting, because David asked, how do you justify that higher price? Well, now, C. Renee says she's having flashbacks. I don't know if she's having flashbacks to. Probably there's something I ranted and raved to her about. Tell us what you're having flashbacks about, C. Renee. This concept of even the value exchange, that this platform will actually augment whatever value you have. So I always forget this girl's name, and I can't remember. In fact, David, I spoke with you about it. She's the youngest Kardashian. Jenner, is it something Jenner is her name. Who is the youngest?
Either Kylie or Kendall. I'm not sure.
Kylie Jenner?
Might be.
Or is it Kendall?
It might be Kendall.
David says it's Kylie. Whichever one is the youngest Kardashian. So she last year was the highest paid model in the world. Now, I'm not hating on her. I'm not taking away from her beauty, but is she the most experienced model? Is she really the prettiest model? Does she have the most symmetric face? Does she have the best body? She's the world's high. How is it that she is the highest paid model in the world without a whole lot of experience, without a whole lot of training, without necessarily being the best in these areas? Guess who the highest paid DJ in the world is? She doesn't have any musical training. She doesn't know how to beat mix. She doesn't know how to crossfade. She doesn't know how to scratch. In fact, another DJ puts together a mix for her. She pushes the start button, and then she pumps her fist in the air. Her name is Paris Hilton. Highest paid DJ in the world, really? Does she deserve that? Does she earn it? Is she the best at DJing? Is she providing the best value? No, platform is the simplest and easiest way to get high ticket. To say I have the best DJ, or to say I have the most known DJ, to say I have the best model or the most known model, the best doctor or the most known doctor, the value there is dramatically different. Brent said she ain't no DJ. Everybody who is involved with music would agree with you, yet she consistently, you cannot get Paris Hilton to DJ for less than $1 million. So think about that. What is the skill set that Kim Kardashian has? She, until recently, she was just knocked over by Rihanna, but she had the top selling cosmetic line. Is she the most pretty? Is she the most versed in makeup? Did she go to cosmetology school? Can she, I mean, like, what makes her this high value? Platform will make up for a lack of value. Now, this is why when I teach students, I harp constantly on authenticity. Because if you're going to use platform to get high-paying customers, darn it, you better have integrity and you better be providing some value. Don't be out there providing fluff and leveraging platform to get high-paying customers, because that's not cool. Don't tell people I taught you that, because that is absolutely not what I teach. But platform, most importantly, are you young? Are you a woman? Are you a person of color? Are you LGBT? Are you differently abled? Do you have something that people will marginalize you, that people will disrespect you, people will not think you can do the job? Well, guess what? Platform will overcome that. Platform will then open the door so you can go in and do what you know you can do. Platform makes the difference. Questions on platform. See, Renee's having a fit because she's just remembering she's trolling me in the chat. Anybody have real questions? Anybody have questions on increasing your platform before we move to the final one and wrap this up? All right. Let's move to tip number 7. Final tip. Create a lead sucking magnet. A lead sucking magnet. Is this your thing, Caleb? I'm just messing. Yeah. Man, but you can't talk about this because this is the type of thing that we are dealing with now. And, we have, remember we promised there's nothing for sale here, but there is a pitch, and this is the pitch. We want you to join our groups, right? We've created some Facebook groups, and this is our lead sucking magnet, these groups. We started the Favorite Motivator group, facebook.com/groups/favorite motivator. You can see that on the bottom of the screen. We have over 10,000 people in there. That was started maybe 9 months ago. Facebook group that we've started for women. Natalie, I don't know if she's back yet. Natalie, you here? You back yet?
I
Natalie?
am.
Oh, okay. We called on you earlier. You were gone, but you can talk now really briefly. Talk about the WeFems group. This group was started, 5 months ago, 6 months ago?
Yeah, very end of February, in fact.
Oh, wow. End of February. So really March, April, May, June. We're 4 months old. Okay. So how many members are in that group right now?
We are like around 1,300, which is super exciting. And for those of you that are wondering what WeFem stands for, it's Women Empowered Female Entrepreneur and Motivators. So if you're a woman entrepreneur looking, to be inspired and empowered by other women, business owner, definitely join the community. All right. We're here to support one another, lift one another up, and just cheer and celebrate everyone's wins. So check it out.
Really awesome. Facebook.com/group/WeFems. We're excited about that because they actually have a live online women's business networking mixer this Friday.
Yeah.
So you definitely, if you're a lady boss, you want to get in that group and hook up. Those ladies are on fire, man. They are encouraging each other. They are networking with each other. They are doing business with each other. So I don't know about any other Facebook group, but these ladies are doing business with each other in this group. So you want to check that out. That's a lead sucking magnet for us. There's 10,000 in one group, 1,300 in this group. And then last week, Caleb started a group for millennial entrepreneurs. About how many people are in that group, Caleb?
Just over 300.
300 in a week. See, we're creating these tribes of people and sharing value with each other in these groups. And those people end up becoming students in our certification program. They become authors in our books. They become people who hire us as coaches, ask us to come and speak, right? This is one of an example of a lead sucking magnet. A lead sucking magnet is just a lead generation system. It needs to be something that is sustainable, predictable, and scalable, right? We build an email list from our groups. We have all kinds of things. It's easy to get caught in this chicken and egg scenario. Like, do I help the leads that I have, or do I generate new leads? You kind of have to do both, right? You got to keep doing all of those things, but you need something that you can specifically turn on and turn off. And we do that through creating of tribes. Tell us about this millennial tribe, Caleb, that this group, the Metachasm, TheMetachasm, Facebook.com/group/the Metachasm. If you're a millennial entrepreneur, why should they be in this, Caleb?
Right, absolutely. So one of the biggest things that we like to share and talk about is, or we like to assist and why we're helping in these areas is because, let's face it, not everyone likes millennials. But the reason why is just kind of not right, like, why do you not like us? And then of course we have all of the crazy things that some millennials have done, but then we're completely labeled as a whole as, I had someone comment and say, millennials are like, no one can save millennials. There's nothing that can be done to save millennials. But it's kind of unfair, if a millennial was trying to get, really good at what they're doing, or kind of get that recognition that they deserve, or be paid as an expert, as an authority figure and whatnot. There's kind of like this glass ceiling that just says, nah, fam, like, you're a millennial, like, we're just gonna not give you that opportunity just because of the year that you were born in. And I just don't think that's cool. And so the whole reason why we built this community is really just to share with people today what works in the meta. So prior to all of this stuff, you know, I'm a gamer. And in general, I love to gamify life. I love to, you know, be able to set it up to where, you know, you can level up per se in the things that you're doing. And the one phrase that they utilize in high level gaming, they actually have gaming now called, you know, esports, where people literally get paid millions of dollars to play video games. I'm not sure if you know that that actually exists, but like for those people that are professionals in video games and whatnot, they refer to the thing that always works as the meta. The meta stands for the most effective tactic available. And so that's literally what we share with our community, and share, you know, with each other, just to be able to share, hey, if you're wanting to launch your own digital agency, if you're wanting to become, you know, a highly paid coach, consultant, or what have you, we just really just share what works, because things change. Facebook's algorithm changes. Instagram's constantly, you know, all these different things are changing all the time. And we just want to share what's going on, how people can best succeed in the meta and break through that glass ceiling where people are just held back.
Yeah.
Just because of their age. And so that's the whole reason why we created this initiative.
All of our groups are about empowering people who are marginalized. Everything that we do, we're all about helping people because you don't have enough money, because you don't have the right skin tone, because you don't have the right weight, because you don't in the right country, all of that kind of stuff, man. That we're just so opposed to that. And what we do is we provide solutions. And so if you get our ebook, that's one of our lead magnets. If you join one of our groups, that's one of our lead magnets. Watching this video now, you became a part of a lead magnet, right? And so we do that. We just suck in leads constantly, and that's how we continue to grow. And we do that unashamedly, and you should do it unashamedly. Why? Why? Because it's our job to help as many people as want to be helped. And we can only help as many people as possible if we reach as many people as possible. The way we reach as many people as possible literally is through advertising. You know, if you're going to grow and scale your business, you need to invest in marketing. You need to invest in advertising. And so that's one of the things I show my students, how to affordably advertise to generate unlimited leads so they can get those high-paying customers for their services. This is important because high-paying customers demand that you provide them high value, right? That's the very first thing I said. They demand you provide them high value. So you don't want to spend your time hunting for leads. You want to spend your time servicing clients. You want to spend your time providing value, which is why you want an automated system that's going to generate those leads of those high paying customers for you. We also have a group that we're resurrecting. It's an old group. It kind of died out, but we're resurrecting that. And that is the high paying customers group, right? So facebook.com/group/high paying customers. So high paying customers, favorite motivator, we femmes, the Manicasm, whatever your niche is, we've got a group for you. And when you like this value, you feel like we gave you value here, this is the type of value we give in our groups every single day. And you get to be with a tribe of people like yourself that fit your affinity, whether you're a millennial or want to pour into millennials. We have a lot of people who are not millennials in the group. They just feel like giving value to millennials. Whether you are a lady boss, woman entrepreneur, whether you just want to motivate, whether you just want high-paying customers. Man, we help each other, and everybody helps each other. There's no spam. Well, spammers get kicked out really quickly. Self-promoters, they're gone immediately. We have teams of moderators and ambassadors. So we keep it awesome. And we want you to be a part of it. We want it to be more awesome because we want you in there. That's our pitch. That's our offer. So keep your wallet in your pocket, but click the button, go to Facebook and look us up. Find the group and request to join and be a member of our group. We're so super excited that you would join us and learn today. You have learned 7 tips Was there anybody that had a question about this number 7 here as we wrap up? Because we're kind of 15 minutes over.
I got a question.
Hey.
Hey, yeah. So for your lead sucking magnet here, so that obviously includes like you said earlier, Facebook, maybe like your ads and stuff online, like whatever, Google AdWords or whatever you can do for advertising. So would that also be a good start to go back to, what was it, step number 6, to increase your platform? Is that kind of a chain reaction there for that?
Platform and your lead generation system work hand in hand. Your platform makes your lead generation system much more effective. Your lead generation system gives you the ability to increase your platform. So they're separate and distinct. But they are both very, very important. Your lead generation system is sustainable, is predictable, and is scalable. Think of it like a faucet. Turn it on when you need it, turn it off when you don't need it. You need more leads, turn it on. You need a lot more leads, crank it up. You got enough, turn it off, right? It should be a specific process, a very specific system. Our groups are part of that process. And so we turn on the actual lead magnet system various times in the group within our tribes. But we found that rather than advertising all the time to get people into a new system, it's better to have a tribe that's listening, that you're giving value to, and then you advertise to them. That actually saves a lot of money. And that's just one of the many techniques that we teach. So those work hand in hand, feeding each other, but they are separate. So having one without the other doesn't really help.
Good deal. All right.
Awesome. Any other questions? Any other questions or comments in general? Anybody listening on Facebook? Anybody here live? Questions or comments? Because we're going to wrap this up and let you guys go on about your evening, your day, wherever you are in the world, whatever is happening. We want to respect your time. We don't want to take up too much of it. So join our groups. You have future questions. Get into the High Paying Customer Facebook group. Favorite Motivator, We Femmes, the Metachasm. Caleb, you got any final words?
Stay motivated.
Stay motivated, man. Find your meta. Stay empowered together. You guys are awesome. We had such a great time with you guys. Hope that you got great value from this. If you did, share it. Let people know about us, America's favorite motivators. Man, we are happy to serve you. You can reach us if you want the best to help you become the best. You're ready to get those high-paying customers, reach out to us. We'll talk to you. We'll see what we can do. We'll bend over backwards to make it happen for you. Guys, have a wonderful day. Remember to picture your success. God bless you all. We appreciate each and every one of you.